What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Rashawn Baldwin by RB Dubs coming in at you guys again with another video.
If one more label try to stop me, it's gonna be some dreadhead niggas in your lobby.
Today's video, we're doing something different. Today we have a special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey everyone, my name's Little Bucket, and I'm here today to talk about important issues as a fellow social justice warrior.
Little Bucket came all the way from Michigan here to, do this video with me, so I'm definitely glad, to have her here. And in today's video, we will be talking about the controversial Heineken commercial, and we will be discussing it, talking about the things that we saw, what was wrong with it, and get you guys' opinion on it as well. So first of all, I want to hear what you thought about the commercial before I give what I thought about it.
Oh gosh. I feel like definitely, how could you even think that was okay? First of all, if you haven't seen it, go watch it before you even watch this video, because you definitely need to know what we're talking about. But so even when they threw the bottle over,
right,
literally everybody that the bottle passed was black.
Right.
And
exactly.
You're saying sometimes later is better, talking about the light beer, but every single person was black that the bottle passed along the bar. So how is that an accident, especially when black people are underrepresented?
Right.
And so now they happen to be like everyone in the commercial when you're saying sometimes later is better. Okay.
No, I'm with you. I just don't understand, especially because even looking at it from a business standpoint, there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of consulting when it comes to making these, types of programs and making these commercials and stuff like that. So I don't see, after all this preparation and all this consulting with higher ups and things like that, how it can't be seen that something like this is wrong. Especially even when looking at previous acts of racism and commercials and with other big brands and things like that, even with H&M, is where they're taking their branding and commercials in the wrong direction. So I just don't see how they would let something like this go by.
I don't think it was an accident.
Right.
It definitely can't. I feel like it's just super hard for them to go, whoops,
right,
we didn't intend for it to be racist. Who's on your team of checking it? Then either you're very ignorant or it was intentional.
Right. But I can't even believe the ignorant part either, because as a company, as a business, you definitely have to be aware of the things that are happening around in the world.
Yeah.
And you definitely have to be aware of the issues and things of that nature that are happening in the world around you as a business. So I don't see why you wouldn't, I don't see the ignorant part being an excuse at all. So I definitely do think that it's just purely intentional. And then them apologizing is just them trying to save themselves as a company.
Yeah. Maybe if it was 2005, then they could pull the ignorant card. But come on, everywhere's been talking about race issues and a lot of issues being come on, the blackface has been blowing up. People have been talking about this stuff.
Right.
You can't pull that. Oops, we didn't mean to.
Right.
It's not this stuff hasn't been being talked about for the last few years.
Right.
People have been addressing racism. So come on.
Right. No, I agree 100%. And then even the point that Chance the Rapper brought up in his tweet about how companies do this just to get more views. I honestly do believe that. And it's interesting too. I think they feel like racism can be used as a marketing tool, and then they use it to bring more exposure to their brand. I'd hate to to have to put it that way, but that's what it seems like is happening,
Yeah. Unfortunately. Especially when we got Trump as our president.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then because you see how fast they pull the commercial and how fast they are to apologize when the commercial does go out and they get that backlash. That even proves more how they're trying to bring more exposure to their brand. That's a lot of viewers that see these, commercials and these videos, and, that brings a lot of, attention onto them. Because, even we're talking about them now in this video, so, so that brings more attention to them, that brings more to their brand. But then again, a lot of people aren't gonna purchase from them now or want to associate with them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of counterintuitive, and it's kind of like not working for them, but working against them. So, like, how would we combat, something like that? Especially that sort of racism where it's like intertwined into the media.
I guess you could write letters to the company, and you could just not drink it. I mean, Heineken's gross anyway. It's nasty, you guys. Gross. Way better beer out there. So don't drink Heineken.
Right.
Yeah, maybe writing letters to the company telling them you don't fall for their claim of ignorance. Like, stop doing stuff like that. Social media, I think, works better than email because then you put them on blast in public.
Right. We have these, like, people like Chance the Rapper, for example. They, like, people like him who have a great influence and have, like, millions of followers. Even having those people recognize these wrong things and then putting it out there on their platforms as well definitely brings more exposure to the problem. So I feel like having those people point out the problem will definitely, that could be a solution to, bringing about, change in that area as well. Because they're big in the entertainment and the media world as well, and they have just as much of an influence on people. Like Chance the Rapper just has just as much of an influence on people as Heineken.
Definitely.
Because of his status. So
he did make a good point in the other part of his tweet, though, where he was talking about, like, he's also possibly helping them by giving it exposure. So it's complicated, but I feel like exposing them is better still than not saying anything. If you're neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor.
Right.
By Desmond Tutu.
Right. So I feel like that's like what we would be doing if, like, we're not doing something like this, or if we're not, like, writing a letter, or definitely. Even like just acknowledging and putting it out there that's wrong. So even if you're just like looking at that commercial and saying in your mind, oh, that's wrong, and then even like putting that out there to say that as well, is definitely, a good solution as well.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Do you have anything else that you want to add, or anything like another solution possibly, or any other way that we could like counter this sort of racism that's like media based?
Throw out the whole society. Right. Get a new one. Let's start from scratch.
Get rid of everything.
Speak up. That's really all we can do at this point, and not support the bad companies. But that's also difficult because if we were boycotting all the bad companies, would there be companies left?
Yeah. It's also interesting to look at where this whole, idea of lighter is better, because that's definitely something that's still present in the world.
Yeah, oh yeah, even not in the United States.
Right.
In the whole world. In like India, I think lightening skin cream is like huge, where it's sold like everywhere, and people are the women especially are expected to like put the skin lightening cream everywhere because like looking more European and white is like prettier and more beautiful. Right. Which is just bullshit.
Yeah, it's horrible. And then, like, even in America too.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Even that idea of lighter is better, just like we're talking about this commercial now, even that whole lighter is better idea is also media based. And, that's Heineken's just feeding into that idea too. So just like you have people who watch the commercial and say that's wrong, you also have people who are watching the commercial and saying, you know what, is lighter really better? And, look down on themselves if they're like a dark person. They'll start to
even more than they already do.
Exactly.
I watched this video one time of these little black girls. They were given like a white baby doll and a black baby doll, and they were like, which one's prettier? And they would pick the white one. And they even like as like a little kid, these are like 5-year-old girls.
Right.
And they even were already ingrained that lighter's better.
Right.
And they were like saying like, oh, the black baby doll's ugly, not as pretty as the white one. And it's just so sad. You've barely been alive that long, and you're already like been told by society that lighter's better.
And then that belief just gets stronger and stronger as they get older.
Yeah.
How do you say that we would counter that at that young age? Like, because they're always going to be exposed to media and things like that.
Yeah, unfortunately. Probably, definitely parents are like a big part. Like,
they do play a big role.
Gotta make sure your kids, as you raise them, are like confident with themselves about like everything. It's good that there's more representation, especially with Black Panther coming out. It's good that like in the media there's becoming more not enough, but at least more little baby steps, hopefully. So we got to really attack this by like the Hollywood roots.
Right.
And like, but it's hard to do that as little people.
Right. But like we were saying earlier, we have people like Chance the Rapper and like people, actors in the Hollywood position who are like us, are also recognizing these problems, and they're using their influence on people to sort of like counter these, you know, these issues and to fight against them. So I think once we get more of that,
Yeah, definitely.
that'll bring more, you know, exposure to the problem, and then also we'll be having more people, you know, like more black people, more oppressed groups entering that Hollywood world, and then that will definitely, you know, little kids will see that, and then, you know, they'll feel like they'll be able to connect with them, and then they'll feel like, oh, you know, my skin color isn't bad at all. It's just as good as any other skin color, and they'll be able to, you know, have a better mindset as they get older.
Definitely, because if you see people like you on TV, in movies and TV shows and commercials, it feels validating.
Right.
Because you're like, oh, there's other people like me, in which we've had some small progress of more diversity in media. Still a long way to go.
Right.
But hopefully we can pick up the pace. But you also don't need to be a super famous person to make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, you can be like us, you know, normal people who are just putting their thoughts out there and just like talking about and discussing these things that they're seeing in their society. It's like, you know, anybody could, you know, talk about what they think and voice their opinion and, you know, put out their thought process as to what they think about these things that they're seeing in their society. So
definitely, especially if you talk to your friends or family members about stuff, because they might value your opinion more than a famous person they don't even know.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think this was a good discussion.
Me too.
And, you know, I thank you for, you know, adding your opinion into it,
Thank
adding
you.
your thoughts into it.
Glad to be here.
So I want to, you know, thank you guys for tuning in and watching this video. Definitely leave a big thumbs up. Definitely like the video if you guys enjoyed it, if you guys agreed, or even if you guys disagreed with something we were saying. You guys can definitely leave a comment down below.
And still like the video.
Right, still like the video for sure. And, you know, definitely subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also go over and subscribe to Lil Bucket's channel. We got a video up on her channel where I did a video with Lil Bucket. You can let them know what we talked about.
We just talked about on my channel, in my video, I'm not going to go super into it obviously, we just talked about oppressed groups of people working together to eliminate all oppression and work together instead of like pitting against each other, because there seems to be a lot of that within oppressed groups of people, not quite understanding other groups of oppressed people.
So that's definitely going to be an interesting video. Be sure to check that out. That'll be on, like I said, that'll be on Lil Bucket's channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. This is your boy Rashawn Ballin White, RB Dubs. Peace.